Okay, we are back on air again. Okay, I have to stop the initial streaming earlier on because I have an issue with the UV unwrap for this object. So I'm going to repeat the entire process. I'm going to redo the whole recording again and explain what went wrong. Okay, so I'm going to open up the earlier scene. Okay, and I'm going to show you what the original object looks like. Okay, so as I was saying, okay, this is what a unwrapped Picatinny rail looks like, but however, this is a level 1 and non-subdivided object. Okay, so if you unwrap, you should get a pattern looking something like this. And if I turn on the checker pattern, everything should look about right. Okay, however, if I press number 3, if you are doing a high fidelity model, okay, you notice that this doesn't work, this falls apart completely. So we need to add sufficient subdivisions so that it looks nice and proper. However, if you were to start to insert edge or supporting edge loops here, you're going to take forever to do that because you're going to insert edge loops on each of these peaks, and it's just a very inefficient way of doing things. So one suggestion is to model one section of this Picatinny rail first, or it could be in another situation where you're modeling an item that is repeated, right? So I'm just going to delete away. Let me just go to the right view. I'm going to delete away multiple sections of this. And I'm just going to make one nice section. We're going to delete this. Just grab this. Delete this away. And I'm just going to recreate the single section. We're going to grab these faces and just bring them back in. Join them up. So anyway, if you look at the topology of this item, it is not too difficult to model. So let me just move this in and select the vertices to snap them into place. So I'm going to select these group of vertices, shift select these group of vertices, pressing W to move, holding down to V and snap them into place. All right, so now I created the single block, but I need to merge these vertices together. So with my HUD on, here I have 24 vertices. So if I merge them, shift right mouse click and then select merge. Okay, I end up with 14. So let's press number 3, then subdivide it, see whether it subdivides properly. Yeah, it seems to work. So I created this single piece of the rail, and I'm going to delete away half of this because I just want to insert and make sure that one half is consistent. Now this face is a little bit offset, so I'm going to scale it until it's completely flat like that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to number 3 level, go to edge mode and insert edge loops until I get a nice Picatinny rail piece. Okay, so right now I'm just inserting edge loops until I get a more defined shape. Okay, so I need a few more here. Shift right mouse click, insert edge loop, one on top here, and then I already inserted one down there already. Okay, perhaps another one more edge loop here. Over here, and that should complete the whole look of it. Okay, I think this is good enough. All the corners are pretty well defined. Maybe perhaps, let's check. Should I need another one up here? Yes, I need another one here. One more edge loop here. And that completes the look of this piece here. Okay, so now we've got one piece. Now we're going to duplicate until we have two pieces. So this will be the masterpiece. This is the head piece. So I'm going to just delete its UV first. We'll redo its UV again later on. Now we're going to duplicate the other side using the duplicate special. So go and modify and center the pivot first. And we're going to reset the pivot. Holding down, press D, then holding down to V, and holding down the V will vertex snap to the edge here. Press D again to get out of the pivot adjusting mode. Duplicate special. In the negative X, okay, negative X scale in this case. I already set it up, then duplicate special. Now I have two pieces. I'm going to combine them together, mesh combine. Go to select the central vertices. 52, so if I merge, that should be half of this number. Okay, shift right mouse click, merge the vertices and merge, but make sure the threshold is at a low value and then hit merge. Now 26, so that is correct. So now I've merged to form one block. Okay, so now I want to create, this is the end block, I want to create the other end. Okay, select this piece, Shift D to duplicate, and then move it out of the way. But this time, to keep the tutorial a bit shorter, I'm not going to create so many pieces. I'm just going to create like maybe 10 or so pieces. Okay, next, I need to delete away the faces which I'm going to be joining. Okay, starting from this face onwards. Okay, so you can just use the level 3, pressing number 3 to go to subdivided mode to select the faces, to delete away. Okay, because this is the end of the rail. I could have accidentally selected one more face here. Yep. Okay, and delete that away. Yeah. So this will be the other end. I'm going to duplicate another piece. So this will be the middle end. Shift D. Okay, this is the piece that is going to be repeated all the way until to this part here. And now we're going to select those faces again. Now the faces are easier to select when you are in subdivided mode. I'm going to select these faces and just delete them away. The other side as well. Okay, this is a faster way to select. You can select a continuous loop. Click here, go to the end, double click, and then this will be selected, then delete it away. So we had a centerpiece, the first piece, and then the last piece. And now we're going to duplicate this centerpiece multiple times. But first we need to align them. So make sure all the pieces are at level 1. Just press 1. Select this object and press D to go to pivot moving mode or pivot edit mode, holding down the V, then just slide it and let it snap to the edge here. Then press D again to get out of the pivot moving mode. Then move the center portion right here until it's almost reaching. You can also hold down to V and then let it snap to the edge. And make sure it's really snap at the edge. You can press number 4 in wireframe mode to make sure that it's really lined up at the edge. Okay, so now we're ready to duplicate multiple pieces until it reaches all the way to this end piece here. So select this piece, Okay, and then press Shift D. Holding down the V, slide it until it snaps to the other end. Holding down the V. So now it slides to the end already, then you can press Shift D several times until you complete your rail. Okay, it's very, very important to make sure that your pieces are all lined up and they are not overlapping, because if they are overlapping and later when you merge them together, you're going to have a tough time UV unwrapping, which is what's going to happen, what happened to me earlier on in my first attempt. Okay, so right now I'm going to line this up, press D to go to pivot moving adjustment point, adjustment mode rather, then hold on to V, slide the pivot right to the end, then press D again, then holding down to V, and then slide it until it matches the end point. So right now, all of our pieces are all lined up together. Okay, if I were to subdivide them, pressing number 3, okay, everything should look fine. Okay, I'm seeing a potential issue here because I have not deleted away the front faces here yet. Let me check. Yes, I have not deleted the front faces of this object, so I'm going to isolate it. And I'm going to select these faces, shift click, double click, delete. All right, then get out of isolate selection. Okay, so now all the pieces are all lined up. We are ready to join them together. So select all the pieces. If you open up the outliner, you can see all of them are there. Then we can join them together. Let me just save this first. Call this V3 then. Okay, so now with all the pieces selected, you apply a mesh combine. So when you combine, because of the history, you're left with all these transform nodes. We are going to delete the history, Alt-Shift-D. Okay, and then you can delete away all these old transform nodes. All right, so now we have combined the pieces, but yet these are still separate elements, because if I double click, you can see they are not joined together. So we need to perform a vertex merge. So I'm going to select all the vertices. So any vertex, right, that is sitting on top of each other will be merged together. So I'm going to perform the merge now. So edit mesh and hit merge. Because I'm using a very low threshold value, only vertices that are exactly on top of each other will be merged. So this is what it means. So if we look at the numbers, we got 4,558 vertices on the HUD. If I hit merge, all right, it should go down significantly, but at the same time, it should not affect the look of my model. All right. Now, the only way to find out whether I have successfully done the merge is to double click on one of the faces, and all the faces should be selected. That means that all the pieces are successfully combined together. The next thing you want to do, we have to start our UV unwrap. Okay, because I've deleted the UV unwrap, currently this object doesn't have any UV layout. So let's do the UV layout for this object. So this object looks very complicated. It's got all these shapes, and you really need to think carefully on how you would unfold this. So the way I approach this is that think of it like origami, or think of this as completely made out of cardboard. Okay, where would you cut the seams so that everything would lay out flat? All right, so the easiest part to cut out, or at least lay out flat, would be this section here, the lower portion here, because this is just you think about it, this is just looks like a big box, right? The bottom portion. If I can cut this out from the top portion where these complicated pieces are, okay, this is just a box which I can detach, and then if I cut the seams correctly, they should unfold nicely. So now let's go to wireframe to make sure that I selected the correct pieces. I want to select, including these faces as well. So what I did just now was I just drag a box and select the bottom portion of this box. but I need this group of faces to be selected as well. So rather than going and clicking and selecting them, you can press Shift full stop to increase selection. So Shift full stop, you can see now these faces are now selected. All right. Likewise, if you press, okay, let me go to subdivided mode. If you press Shift comma, you can shrink selection. So Shift full stop, you increase selection. Right, and go back to level 1 again by pressing number 1. Now go to the top view, and then I'm going to apply a planar UV. So UV, planar UV, and it should appear on the UV texture editor. So now here comes a big test. Will this unwrap? If it doesn't unfold, that means there's something wrong with this topology here. There's non-manifold, or it has some faces that is sticking out incorrectly. So let's go to UV mode, double click on this, shift right mouse click and unfold. So this is a relief, okay? It unfolds successfully. So you can see it unfolds into this sausage shape like object. Okay, the reason is because we need to cut the edges here, so that it will unfold nicely. So if I go to the edge and double click on this, okay, my mistake. I need to select this edge to this edge here. Let's turn over to the other side. Or you can use this tool here, select similar. Okay, and this tool is very useful. If you click on select similar, Maya will figure out that, hey, this edge and this edge is the same. So it will select for you. Let's look at the other side. Will it select for me here? No, unfortunately not. So I have to manually hold down the shift, double click to select this corner, shift, double click to select this corner. Now you notice correspondingly on your UV unwrap, you see that it's the same edges are selected as well. You can come over here in the UV texture editor, shift right mouse click to cut the UVs, rather than going over to the UV and to search for the cut UVs. So right now, the UV has been cut. We can perform another UV layout unwrap. So we'll go to UV modes, double click on it, shift right mouse click and unfold. Now this time, you see it start to unfold much better. The corners are opening up. And we can unfold a little bit further by applying a optimize. So shift right mouse click, go to optimize tool. Rather than optimize in one iteration, you can go to option box. For me, I bump it up to 20 iterations. Then I apply, and it will just straighten everything out nicely for you if the topology is good enough. So I'm very happy with this. So if I go to checker pattern, you notice the lower section of this Picatinny rail has now been successfully unwrapped. Okay, now comes the most challenging part, this area here. How are we going to unfold the top part here? So let's isolate the top part here. So we already know that if we select this shell, the bottom part here will be selected. Okay, now we want to invert the selection. We only want to select this top part and we want to assign a UV projection to it. So you go to select and inverse. So now the top part is selected. You go to the top view. I'm going to apply another UV projection to it, planar UV projection to it. And if we unfold this, we are going to end up with a mess. Okay, let's do it now. So shift right mouse click and just unfold it. And you end up with a shape that looks like a worm or caterpillar. Okay, so how do we improve this result? How do we improve this so that it looks more like a proper unfold? Now, if you study this piece here, you'll notice that it has this triangular piece. So if we can select these edges, if I can double click and select this edge, shift double click and select this edge, I actually want to cut this so that it will fold out. If I click on this button here on the UV texture editor, it will show me where are the seams. So I need to cut this area so that this triangular piece will fold out. So now with these edges selected, I'm going to use this tool again called select similar. See, Maya is smart enough to select all the similar selected edges for me. Okay, in fact, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to select the edges behind as well. So let's redo the selection again. Go over right to the corner edge here, double click. Okay, so that it will select this edge for you. Then go over here, shift and double click. Make sure you select the outer one, not the inner one. Double click. Then I'm going to the other side. Shift, double click, shift, double click. And we're going to use the tool, select similar. And you can see Maya is smart enough to select all the two-sided edges for us. Then that is where we're going to cut the UVs. And if you look at the UVs here, all the corner edges of the triangular portion is selected. Then go to Shift, right mouse click, and cut UVs. So now the UVs are cut. You can see the lines thickening up. Go to UVs, double click on the UVs, Shift, right mouse click, and unfold again. Okay, we are starting to get a slightly better result. Okay, in order to prevent this thing from always jumping, when I go to unwrap, unfold, I'm going to click on this, uncheck this pack so that it will stay in place. So I'm going to apply another unfold, see what happens. Okay, nothing much happens. So I'm going to try to apply a optimize. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. You can see the optimize is attempting to straighten up everything. We still have this issue here where it is not unfolding as nicely as I want it to be. Okay, so let's study the shape again. Okay, I'm studying the flow of the topology from here to here. Shift full stop to increase the selection. Okay, if you look at these thick lines, think of them as lines that are being cut so that all these can be unfolded out. Okay, right now I'm looking at this edge here, over here, and I'm going to see whether I can cut it out so that these, the tips, the corners, right, can fold out. So I'm going to see where does it end here. Okay, essentially the unfold is good, just that we have these here that will be very distorted if we don't do anything about it. So I'm going to study a previous unfold that I did. Let me just save this first. Save. Okay, not this one. I just open back previous scene. Okay, let's study this closely again. Okay, I'm still finding out what is the best way to unfold this. Let me see whether I can run any more optimize on this. Now optimize have this settings where you can actually it's trying its best. Optimize is actually trying its best to straighten out everything for us. Now under optimize settings, right, there is this thing called prevent self-border intersections. So this is very useful. You can see the unfold software is trying its best not to overlap each other. Okay, if I turn on the checker pattern, this actually is still is usable, but there's still some distortion on the extreme ends, especially the triangular sections. Okay, but I think if we can cut the seams right at a proper location, we can still get this unfolded even more in a much better location, right? So I'm still trying to look at where would be the best. Let's try selecting, I need this one to be connected. Okay, let's try this. Select this edge. Yep, and then I'm going to say this edge as well, vertical edge. And finally, this one here as well. And select similar. Okay, so now all these edges are selected. I'm going to cut them in the UV texture editor. And then I'm going to try to unfold everything again. Okay, now it looks like a bug, but I'm going to optimize this. Okay, press G again, continue to optimize it. It's getting there, but it's still not the shape that I want. Okay, I think we might have to cut here. I could fix the problem. So I'm going to select this edge and this edge. This edge. The other side as well. This one, yeah. Select similar. So all of the edges be selected. Then go to cut UVs and we're gonna do our unfold again. Optimize. It should straighten everything out. Actually, it's getting worse instead. So maybe that's not a good idea. Cutting the edge over there. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm gonna undo that. Okay, I think I'm going to continue to work on this. I'm going to stop the stream now, but it is actually possible to actually try to get this to unwrap until you get a much nicer UV layout. Okay, just have to spend a little bit more time trying to find out which is the best way to cut so that all this will unfold nicely and flat. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this now.